So, let us introduce ourselves very quickly. So you already know my name. I'm Karin. I'm a product manager and also consultant at P3. I have a quite diverse background in brand communication, brand strategy. That's actually like where I come from. And I've lived in China for a couple of years. I worked in different areas, sectors, from sport to automotive. And yeah, this is somehow I came to product development, product design, and yeah, working at P3 for the last 2 years. And I'll let Günther also introduce him.
Thank you. My name is Günther Emanuel. I'm partner at P3 and I'm working for P3 since 10 years now. I'm responsible for many of our digitization and IT projects, and approximately 4 or 5 years ago, me and another colleague, we built the foundation for what we're gonna tell you about today, the digital product design framework. Back then it was called Rapid Application Prototyping. But yeah, with Karin's help and a few other persons, it got way more professional. So yeah, I'm happy to be here today. Maybe a few words for regarding the company, because probably many of you guys haven't heard about P3 yet. We have been founded in 1996 by a spin-off from the WTH Aachen, so quite close to here. And since approximately 2015, we are in software development and we are moving more to become a digital company and to do IT consultancy. And nowadays, approximately half of our business is with regards to IT or digitization. And we have nearly 2,000 employees by now, and we're rapidly growing worldwide. And within Germany, I was asked a lot about that today. That's why I want to tell you. We have locations in Stuttgart, Düsseldorf, Munich, Berlin, Hamburg, Wolfsburg, and Osnabrück. Yeah, I think maybe it's hard for you guys to understand what P3 is. So we're a consultancy. That means most of the time we work for customers, and probably a few of these customers you know better than us. So yeah, we're quite a big company and have very well-known customers. You see the automotive sector for sure, also finance, energy, and chemical companies. So yeah, basically a lot of the big German companies, but also international. And we named our presentation Digital Product Design Framework and not P3, and that's why Karin will go on now with our topic.
Exactly. So in the beginning of a solution, usually there is a problem, and I want to tell you a little bit about what we find in our daily business. So usually when we develop products, what we usually see that there are no requirements at all defined in the beginning, or there is a lack of requirements. And usually this is done so to save money, and we jump too quickly into the development. At least that's what we see at our clients. And in the end, the designer or the developer really suffers because they don't have the right information to develop great products. So yeah, and that's also something that we want to change with our framework. Another issue that we found is, and I guess every one of you know that, communication is key. So if I would ask you now, just imagine a dog, for example, everyone would have a very different understanding of like what a dog would look like. And visualization is very key. And we often find that especially POs, product owners, underestimate the value of good visualization. And sometimes we also see that it's not necessary to do like a huge visualization, but really just sketch out your idea, to have like a quick prototype, and this already helps to get the same understanding. Something else that we see is usually the gap between development and design. And as you can see here, usually what happens is that design really has like great ideas, has a great design, but in the end, it's hard to develop. And sometimes there is also a gap between the actual technical advancement and the design. And sometimes that's how it can't get realized. And in general, we just see that the conception phase is very underestimated. And usually when you want to develop user-centric products, the first phase and the conception phase is very crucial. And with everyone moving towards more individualized products, the conception phase and actually setting user requirements is very important.
Yeah, and when we face these problems with our customers while trying to develop great products, we basically found our why to develop something like the standardized framework. Because as a consultancy, and we want to provide business value and value add in our projects. So it's very frustrating if you start a project and you're very motivated and then you find out we have the wrong requirements, or it's just not clear what we want to do, or we just look at one perspective of the problem and don't see the whole picture. And then you start working, you're really motivated, and when you come with your first ideas or even with first prototype or something, it's totally wrong. That's frustrating. And that's why we said, okay, we want to create high value. And that also means that we need to do this in a structured way and in a standardized way so that we are able to guarantee for that value. And it's not more or less a coincidence if we hit the right target or not. And facing these problems, we decided to do that by a step-by-step approach. I mean, that's a pro if you're a consultancy. You basically do that with your customers all the time. So this time we did it internally. And we decided to first understand the status quo, talk with our experts from UX, from business, from IT, and talk to them and ask, why do we fail in our projects? What went wrong? And what could we improve? So after understanding the problem, we went there by a step-by-step approach. And we did that with iteratives. That means we tried something out, we saw something works, something doesn't work. And then we did the next step and the next step. As I said, 3 or 4 years ago, we already had a version, but it was not that good as it is today. And by now we can say we have different methods and different ways to go. And this is all standardized. That means if we go to another customer, we can go with the same framework, and probably we will be able to help him very quickly because we have the methods already there and ready to use. So we've talked a lot about the why and the how we got there, but you don't really know what DPD means so far. And maybe some of you guys have heard about design thinking yet. And design thinking looks a lot to the user. That means the idea is I want to understand the problem and then I build solutions for the user. And that's how we started like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But we found out that we had great ideas, but we couldn't realize them. It didn't work out because we had dependencies on brownfield IT infrastructure or on the business case behind it. And with the greatest idea, if there's no budget, you cannot realize it. And that's why we said, okay, in future, we have to look at the user to understand the problem and to find the right ideas. But we need to look also left and right to understand what does IT bring, and also how do we make money with that? And for the details, Karin.
Cool. So what is the digital product design framework? So basically, as Günther already mentioned, we have these 3 dimensions that we want to look at. And we have the user, business, and IT. And what the digital product design framework is really, it helps us to actually to try to solve all the problems that I mentioned earlier, to actually really make sure that we have like the right requirements in the beginning, that we find like a common understanding, that we visualize things, that we close the gap between development and design. And these 3 dimensions help us with that. So in the first dimension, obviously, we talk about the user, and we look at user research, really look into what are the user needs, to really make sure that we have, in the end, with our product, a great experience. From a business side of things, we look into, like, does this product really meet the strategic goals of the company? And on the IT side, we look into, is it actually feasible? Can it be integrated, etc.? And yeah, we actually take a classic approach to it. Like, we actually split our framework into 3 phases. You've really from like broad to small, from analysis to detailing to validation. And within these 3 phases, we actually build a methodology toolbox that we use. So when we actually go into a project, we really look into, like, what is already there on that side. For example, what does the company already have in terms of user? What is already there in terms of IT systems, business? And then we pick and choose from different methodologies and actually fill that gap and fill that side of things. At the end of this process, we really want to have like a completed conception phase per se. So meaning that at the end of it, we want to have a visualized product, like let it be like a quick prototype already, let it be a proof of concept, a business case, and already a good plan on how we integrate the product into IT systems, for example. So the goal of all of it is that at the end of the conception phase, you can really make a decision if you want to develop this product or not, or how you might have to change it.
Maybe one comment, as I saw a few people taking pictures of the slide. On our website, you can also find a white paper regarding it. It's still called Rapid Application Prototyping, so the earlier name, but if you want to dive deeper, that's a resource. And yeah, we said we talk about users, IT systems, and business. And of course, if we talk about users, the big question is, what is desirable? What do the users really want? And if we look into the IT, it's more about feasibility. So what is possible? What can we build? And for the business side, it's always profit, as you guys know. And as it is always hard for us to share our customer projects with an audience which is public, because of course there's not everything to share. Today we brought you an internal project, something that 3 consultants of us learned by their everyday experience in electric mobility consulting, that we have big problems finding a good route planning application. And as we have the software development competencies within our company, and we also know about electric mobility, we decided to build that application on our own. It's called Electric Routes. If you scan it, you get there. And of course, in the beginning, it was just like an idea, and we started to do that. And after that, we understood, okay, there's more business value into this, and we further developed it. So by now, we have different modules that we can resell to customers, for example, maybe I don't tell them, but different customers and different bigger apps that someone who's driving an electric car probably uses every day, using parts of our software to plan for further routing. And we get software as a service money for that, so to say. Yeah. That's how the app looked like. And I myself drive a Volkswagen ID.4. And honestly, right now it gets better and better because we have so many hyper-charging stations on our Autobahn nowadays. But 1.5 years ago, it sometimes was really tough to plan the route if you go further away. And this app helped me a lot because it really gave me good proposals. There's also POI information, like if there's a restaurant around or if there's a playground for the kids or something like that. So yeah, you get a way better experience. And for that project, as I said, we know the problem and we know a lot of the basic problems that our customer had before, and we used our framework to develop it in that way, and we are quite happy with it.
And maybe one thing to add that we did really everything end to end for this app. So even the brand identity, logo design, the whole marketing around it. So yeah, it's kind of like our own baby. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
wow, fancy.
fancy. Yeah. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, if anyone has any question, you can obviously ask the question in German or in English. Maybe you speak another language I don't know of, but let's keep it that way. So if anyone has a question, I would love to run up to you. I get that you're shy. That's very understandable. But both of you, you're still there at the after party.
Yes. Yes,
for
we are.
a bit, so you can ask your questions there. But smart. But I also have some questions. Of course, I do. Entschuldigung, da hinten aus der Regie, könnten Sie bitte mal auf die Slide mit den QR-Codes gehen? Vielen Dank. So, my question is, I know the user-centric approach to design thinking, but why do you expand it to business and IT?
I try to explain it. In the beginning, we did it only from a user perspective, and we just learned that we had great ideas and the customer was happy, but we didn't realize them because after talking to the customer and after solving the actual problem, we wanted to realize it, and we talked to IT, and they said, "You are crazy. We cannot do this. You don't understand our SAP system, and the data you need, we don't have it. And if you want it, you have to wait 10 years." And that's why we said, okay, maybe talk to them earlier and maybe understand their requirements and their boundaries that they have. And also, from the other hand side, regarding business, you can have the best idea, and I bet every one of you has an app idea today. When we talk downstairs, and you will come up with an idea, the question is, can you make money with that? Does it make sense to spend a lot of money to develop the app, to promote the app, to sell them to customers or whatever? Does it make sense because you will earn more money with it or not? And a business plan helps a lot to decide that and to convince management.
Definitely. I really want to hear all the ideas of the people in the audience. Maybe we have some great ideas down there. You have on one slide, you talked about different methods. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, and what do you mean specifically with competitor analysis and market research?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, so our framework is actually built of like a toolbox of different methods. And specifically market research is something that is often also not considered. You have an idea, you just want to start right away. And apart from the user, market research is also something that, often doesn't get considered. And for example, in there, we usually sometimes this can be very simple. So we just use like Porter's 5 forces, but this can be very simple, and we also have like a small, medium, large approach that we use with clients. And depending on what is needed, we do that. Yeah.
Very cool. And how long does it run? Does a run of the digital product framework take?
Yeah, it always depends on the project, but our goal and our target time is to have a prototype and business plan and full product backlog for the customer within 3 to 6 weeks. Of course, there's huge projects. If you totally want to change your most important IT system or something like that within the company, you have so many stakeholders that it takes longer. But for 80 to 90% of the problems that we face with our customers, 3 to 6 weeks are enough. Of course, it's tough 3 to 6 weeks because you cannot lose a lot of time. And that's also something we tell our customers right in the beginning, that we need them and they need to be available. And it's not possible to be on vacation and have no time and so on, because then the timeline will not work.
So not around Christmas.
Yeah, rather not. Also, we don't want to do that on Christmas.
Exactly. Does anyone else have a question? We still have a little bit of time. But as I said, I understand if you want to ask a question more privately, face to face, and you are both there for it. And thank you both so much for being here. A little applause, please.
Thank you.